y un fidel que vibra en las montañas, un rubí, 5 franjas y una estrella. Cuba, qué linda es Cuba. Every piano in Cuba is broken and screwed up in some way or other, and every other family has a pianist in it. I guess it's always been a musical place since before the revolution, for hundreds of years, and piano was very popular in the old days, and there was a lot of old American pianos left over from before the revolution. Now they guarantee education for everybody, and in Cuba, one of the first things they thought of, I imagine, was musical education. So that's why they have so many excellent music schools around the island. And everybody in Cuba that studies music studies piano and their own instrument. Left over from the previous donations, we have 22 pianos. My favorite idea, the thing I like to do most in life, is to get a piano that's kind of so-so and fix it up until it's real nice. So there's a lot of ways that people could help out. The way I'm going to do it for myself is I'm going to take a piano and maybe a Cuban, because we're going to have 5 or 6 or 7 Cubans helping us, mostly tuners, and maybe another foreigner, and grab a piano and say, okay, you want to do this, you want to clean that, you want to fix that, and take it all apart and put it back together again and send it out in a week or however long it takes to do it. Well, everyone has grabbed a piano and started working on it. I took this Baldwin here, and Max, who doesn't know much about piano work yet, she took a piano that's got a lot of problems and she's fixing it with fishing wires. The Cubans over there are fixing one of the spinets we had that has a terrible problem with plastic parts, and they're replacing it with wooden parts we brought. And then of course there's the bass string machine. Normally it's being used for the strings that break during the work here. And in fact, they've been turning out sets of strings for money, some of which goes to our project. It's a joint venture with the Cuban government. It's totally illegal. For people that are working on this project, they just walk in and say, hey Maura, I need this string copied. And Maura just does it in I don't know how many minutes it takes them. That's a lot different than what it was like before. If you broke a string, then your piano was never going to have a string there ever again in your whole life. You can't call New Jersey and get a new string, which is what we do in the States, in Cuba. You can actually do that from Brazil quite easily, and it only costs you $15. You can't do it from Cuba.
I think in the medical profession they call it something like triage, but it was a matter of going through the selection of instruments that were available at the schools and picking out the pianos that could be serviced in a day or resuscitated in a day and sort of patched up and put back in action again.
what I'm doing is warping the hammer shank to go in the direction I want. An old term for it is burning the shank over.
I'm just adjusting the let off now, which is the amount I can push down the key and have the hammer approach the string before the jack kicks out.
I'm reshaping the hammers. They're really flat on the top, and there's too much of the hammer surface that's striking the string.
Yo he llegado a la conclusión es que esos pianos fueron fabricados con maderas nuevas, maderas sin curar.
So he thinks that the pianos were constructed with wood that wasn't dry wood. It wasn't with green wood, basically, and
claro.
that so that there's distortion, I guess.
Sí, también el problema es the hammers, los martillos son viejos. Y es un problema porque no puede hacer la música. They're not soft.
Los martillos son
they're hard.
Son duros.
Son duros. I figured it out eventually, and would go in and find out what I can't do to Russian pianos. And there's a lot that one cannot do with Russian pianos, especially with American parts. The dampers here are mangled, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's because of the moisture. Probably because the moisture makes the felt expand, and then it doesn't fit properly onto the string.
The termites are prevalent. They're everywhere, and they're in almost every piano in Cuba. 70%, I'm told.
How long would it take, say you have a brand new piano, how long would it take if it was put in the worst conditions for it to be destroyed by these termites?
Para desarrollar una colonia, alrededor de 3 años.
Raquel is a wood expert who works in conservation in Cuba. And Raquel is a termite expert now because she's been studying that problem, the Cuban piano termites. This is clever system for controlling the humidity so you can keep it nice and even. If you send the piano back after it's been expensively contaminated this way to the same termite conditions, it will be reinfested pretty soon.
Por eso es que nosotros hablamos de, al final de todo el estudio, establecer una medidas de conservación preventiva.
Now in this one we have put.
Hicimos una solución con diferentes solventes. Disolvimos pimienta.
Using various solvents, we have been putting in a hot chili pepper liquid. An expert who traveled in Latin America told us that the one piano that he ever saw in Central America that was not infested with termites was the one that was rubbed on the case and sprinkled with the powder with chili powder, hot chili pepper.
Sin embargo, nosotros entramos a revisar qué otro organismo podía atacar los granos de pimienta.
This whole thing, which sent a Piana to Havana, organized Rosa Lowenger's trip, and we bought the supplies for it, is working out to be too expensive per piano. So we're going to go with borax and using this system, possibly with the felt parts of the pianos.
Yo te aconsejo, muchas veces, si tú tocas una mano forte, realmente parece que la que está tocando forte es la otra. Entonces, empieza a tocar el estudio, haz forte con la izquierda más que con la derecha. ¿Ya me entiendes? Y entonces el diminuendo, quien lo va a hacer, no es la derecha, es la izquierda. Prueba para que tú
veas. You get carried away with how good they are, but you forget, you always forget how hard it is for them to arrive at that. Because, you know, life is hard here. Life is hard. There ain't no food. These kids are what? The ones we're hanging around with are under 20. For the last 8 years, they've been out of food and medicine. They've been out of petroleum. They're not able to go anywhere. But they get places and they eat anyway, and they get well eventually, you know, with the little thing they have. And that takes a lot of time and a lot of effort out of somebody's life.